which means big games are happening in the Big Ten. We head to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where Wisconsin and the Wolverines will battle on Saturday night. Big games in the Big House. We will see who stays alive in the race to make it to a Big Ten championship game. And we come to you live in the middle of Ann Arbor. Maria Taylor alongside David Pollack, and the king is back. Desmond Howard. He allowed us to come on this trip with him. Thank you, Des.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, you guys. I expect the same hospitality when we make it to Athens. Okay? All right.
Well, certainly we'll see what we can do. You're welcome, guys. Des is home. Do you want to give him a round of applause? The prodigal son. You see that he had a presidential
always
wave.
great to be back home. Go Blue.
Well, the reason why we are back here is because College Game Day will come to you live at 9 a.m. Eastern from Ann Arbor. And the big matchup is Wisconsin and Michigan. Let's talk about the Wolverines and what they have to do to win. So Michigan wins if what happens?
I tell you what, I mean, it starts and ends with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, this guy, listen, Wisconsin's always had a pretty strong running game, right?
Yep.
But they've never had a running back as electric as Jonathan Taylor. I mean, anytime he gets a crease, he can go the distance. And so this is a new element to their offense. I mean, he was amazing last year, obviously. And I think they have to stop him. And then when you look at Don Brown, the defensive coordinator, and the way Michigan plays defense, the #1 defense, total defense in the nation.
Again.
Exactly.
I feel like I just say it again.
Yeah,
it's
man.
on repeat.
That's what's going to be the key. You got strength versus strength. Michigan's defense against Wisconsin's running game.
And see, I feel like it's on the other side because I know Don Brown and then we'll bring it.
Yeah.
I feel like Michigan's offense, it's time to show up. They've had some good moments, and they have some moments of inconsistency. So if Michigan's offense can bring what they brought to the table in some of these games and not just slow starts, but brought to the end of the games with Shea Patterson and company, then they're going to win the game. There's no doubt about it. It's all in the offense for me.
Yeah,
well, on both sides, you know, they've had slow starts with their offense in recent games. But what can be the difference there? We've seen Shea Patterson, a little bit of mobility there. He's showing in the pocket. He can throw on the run. He can do a little bit of everything. What does he have to continue to do against Wisconsin in order to have that fast start?
Well, Wisconsin is a defense that's always physical because they're an offensive line that you know is physical. To me, Michigan's offense is at its best when it's taking shots. And it's not that it has to be a home run every single play, but it makes me honored as a defense. And when they take shots, they've been good at it this season. Passing down the field, they've made some big plays. So I just think I'm fine if you're going to be Higdon and you're going to run the dink and dunk, but also take advantage of some big plays down the field.
No doubt about that. And I think that you got to get the offense going with Karan Higdon. But, you know, Patterson has to extend plays, too. Yeah. If he can get out there on the perimeter, when you look at Wisconsin's defense, David said they're a physical outfit. There's no doubt about that. But they're more designed for offenses that want to play in between the tackles, not guys who can get out there on the perimeter and then make moves in space. And I think that Shea Patterson, as a quarterback, has the ability to go out on the perimeter and run and throw the ball with some accuracy. And I think that's what's going to be the key tomorrow night for Michigan's offense.
You know, we've seen Michigan's offense put it together every single game since that loss to Notre Dame. Yeah. Are we seeing a team whose ceiling is growing with every single game? What is the ceiling almost for the Wolverines this season?
First of all, let's be honest of what Michigan has been.
Yeah.
Michigan has wasted championship defenses the last several years. They're the equivalent to me of Oklahoma the past couple years. Oklahoma's been wasting championship offenses.
Exactly,
Dude, you're going on year 4 where Michigan has a top 5 defense in college football. The offense catches up. Heck yeah! It's a playoff team. It's a championship team. It's just the offense has just got to continue to pull its weight. So if they can continue to grow and get their identity offensively, they're a team that could be in playoff contention.
Yeah, I mean, the ceiling is high as far as the offense is concerned. As long as the offensive line comes to play, I think that's what the Achilles heel was early in the season, especially out the gate against Notre Dame. They didn't play well, but now you look at the center, Cesar Ruiz. This guy's playing fantastic football right now. He's the quarterback of the offensive line, getting everybody in sync and where they need to go and making sure they can pick up blitzes. So if that continues, then the ceiling is very high for Michigan.
The ceiling is the roof?
The ceiling is the roof.
Brand, so, you know.
I hear you, MJ.
You look at the next 3 games, and those are almost all revenge games. We were here for the Michigan State game, you know, Wisconsin getting the better of them, and then still getting a take on Penn State. There's a lot left to do for Michigan, but there's a lot left on the table as well.
Everything is ahead of them. Everything is in front of them. All their goals are still attainable as long as they handle their business week in and week out. But listen, this is why you come to Michigan. I mean, this is why you signed that letter of intent to play football in Michigan, to play in these games against these teams.
Well, let's move on to the SEC. Go down south to Death Valley. LSU hosts Georgia. We don't even know what that is.
We were almost there.
But the eyes of college football will most certainly be there because Georgia right now undefeated, still eyeing a back-to-back run to the college football playoff. But this begins the toughest part of their schedule in taking on LSU. Let's start with the Bulldogs, and what do they have to do in order to get this win, Des?
I think that Jake Fromm is going to really have to make some throws late in the game to win this game. I think when you look at what happened a week ago when LSU played Florida, LSU's quarterback could not make throws late in the game. I think that's why LSU lost that game against the Gators. I think now you're going to flip the script. LSU's defense, I'm telling you, listen, I love being Ann Arbor under the lights, but Death Valley at nighttime? Are you kidding me? They're going to bring the funk, especially after a loss the previous week. So I think that it's going to come down to Jake Fromm making some critical throws late in the game to keep drives alive and maybe even the game-winning touchdown pass.
Yep, and I tell you what, Georgia's I don't know that we know a lot about them yet. I mean, you watch them and they're really talented. I watched their secondary. I think it's one of the best in the country, period. It's going to be fun to watch that defense because I think the defense is good, but the linebacker spot without Roquan to be tested, to stop the run of LSU. LSU wants to run the ball, and not just with their backs. Joe Burrow is going to run the football, too. So this Georgia defense, you know, DeAndre Walker, we know he can rush the passer. You know he's great. DeAndre Baker, we know he's great. Tyler Clark is disgusting. Can they go into Death Valley in a tough atmosphere and make them one-dimensional? And can they make big plays like this and carry the ball into the end zone? Because DeAndre Baker dropped that at the 1-yard line, by the way, and his teammate had to pick him up. All the way into the end zone. A couple times they've done that.
Okay, so. Now, this is an afternoon game. We know the night games are special, too. And it doesn't matter, really, when you show up in Baton Rouge. It's going to be a tough environment. But Joe Burrow and the offense for LSU, I think we're still finding out about them, too, every single game. What could be the difference for the Tigers on that side of the ball?
The interesting thing to me is, you know, listen, the only thing difference between this year's team and last year's LSU team is they're winning games. The offense is still very much a work in progress. Now, against Auburn, credit to them. They made plays when they needed it the most, but this is a offensive line that is not gelled yet. It's not where it needs to be yet. The running backs aren't what they were. The receivers are still coming to their own. The passing game is not where it needs to be yet to be a threaten the whole field type of team. It's a quick passing game. It's a physical running game. And listen, Joe Burrow has to run. That's what this offense is right now. It's not an offense I think that's going to go out and go against Georgia and get you 28.
LSU has had 6 different offensive lineup combinations in 6 games. Like, there's no...
Is that good?
No, I don't.
That's not good.
Was that by design?
Is that what we're going for here?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but when you're dealing with something like that, the inconsistency on the offensive line, what can you depend on? What is going to work for an offense that's dealing with that kind of inconsistency?
Oh, man. I mean, you can't get any type of rhythm when you're doing that. So I don't think you're going to have anything that's going to work unless you have an exceptional quarterback, and they don't have an exceptional quarterback. So to me, they're just like still trying to find an offensive identity going into week 7. That's a recipe for disaster. There's nothing positive about that whatsoever.
Are you believing in Georgia, what you've seen so far?
I believe they're a good team. Just like last week, I did the Firebomb show, and they was talking about, you know, are you impressed with LSU? I'm like, no, I'm not impressed with LSU. And then I'm like, not at all. And then they went and lost the game against Florida. So, you know, I'm not really – I think Georgia's a good team. Like I said, I'm expecting an explosion at some point because you know they have the talent. They just got to put it together at some point.
Yeah, this is a solid team right now. But this is the challenge. This is a challenging part of their season now. So we're about to see the
They got plenty of tests coming up now.
100%,
yeah, exactly. Midterm exams coming up now, baby.
Fall break coming around the corner. There's a huge matchup also going on out west, Pac-12. We got Oregon taking on Washington. And if this game could be completely different if Oregon had got that win against Stanford, which they deserve to walk away with that. Oregon right now, right? I still would go back to that game and say they should be undefeated right now.
Right.
But when you think about the key to that game, what do you think it is?
Well, one thing I think people need to understand is this isn't Chip Kelly, Oregon. This isn't the bells and whistles and the no huddle up to him. Like, Cristobal has really used his demeanor. If you've ever met with him, he's like an intense guy, and he's an offensive line coach. He's got some passion. Their offensive line is physical. Their offense is physical. Their defense is more physical than it's been. So I expect this to be a great game. I think we're going to learn a lot about the Pac-12 contender because whoever wins this, I think, is going to be in that playoff conversation late in the season.
Yeah, I really want to see Justin Herbert, man. I'm such a huge fan of the way he plays the game. I mean, 6'6", but athletic enough that he get out on the perimeter and make some plays. He can run away from you with those long strides, and he can make all the throws. I want to see how he's going to go up against the Huskies defense. That's going to be a really good matchup.
Yeah, and I feel like Washington's the last hope, right, for the Pac-12 making the college football playoff. I mean,
You're punting on Oregon, huh?
I'm punting on them.
You're punting on Oregon.
Yeah, that one lost to Stanford.
But can we look at that game and say, if we're a college football playoff committee, they blew that. Right. They dominated the football game except for several mistakes.
But the problem is now, Stanford's been losing. So now you lost to a team that's been losing. So if you lose to a team that goes on to win games, then it doesn't look as bad. You know what I mean? I mean, no doubt, Stanford should have lost that game.
Yeah, they should have.
But they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
Let me tell you who's winning out in the crowd right now.
Winning?
Tatted up. Look at this. Is that Des?
Wow. That's dedication, Holmes.
Des, if you don't walk out there and get a picture with this guy. By the time the show
That's a good picture coming.
That's a picture coming.
That's aggressive, homie. That's aggressive.
That's dedication. What's his name? Somebody find his name out. We're going to
What's your name?
Shout out.
Bud.
Bud?
All right, Bud.
Like Bud Crawford, the boxer, Bud?
Good tattoo, Bud.
They're trying to do what Des did a few years ago. That piece was all about how announcers have been finding different ways to say Tua Tagovailoa is a beast this season over the last 6 weeks. Taking a look at the best odds to win the Heisman Trophy
guys,
right now.
I might as well quit, apparently.
Apparently.
Hey, Kyler Murray, thanks for coming. Haskins, we're nice season, guys.
Good for you. We honestly appreciate all of you guys for playing. Ed Oliver, you play defense. No one cares. Sorry about that. Gino, welcome to the set. Hey.
I dressed like we were going to LSU, and you apparently thought we were going to Madison.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I thought it was pumpkin. It looked very orange to me, but now that I'm sitting on the Home Depot set, it doesn't at all. Okay, Gino, tell us why you're here.
My idea of the week was Tua or the field.
Right.
Okay? Now, Tua obviously is the leader in the Heisman clubhouse right now. We could agree to that.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you a little college football live bedtime story.
Okay.
It starts in 1991, and it begins with a guy named David Klingler, who was a quarterback at the University of Houston, was the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman, threw 9 touchdown passes in the first game. Then there was this guy that wasn't even listed on the preseason Heisman favorites. Early season Heisman favorites, a no-show. Guess who won? That guy right there, Desmond Howard. So my point is,
look at that. Too clean.
It doesn't matter where you are right now.
I agree.
It matters where you are near the end.
That's
and
true.
they have still 6 games to play, plus possibly or probably the SEC championship.
Correct.
We heard about the little knee tweak. I mean, things happen. Injuries happen. You lose a game, things can still happen. Of course he's a leader. Of course he's been the best player so far. But things can happen.
Was there a question there, too? Like
100%.
Tua or the field? Or was
Tua or the field.
I didn't hear an answer to you. Did you? You told us a great
I'm going to say the field.
His story, that means he's taking the field. I would agree. I would agree with Gino. I think, yes, a lot of football left to be played. And you rarely ever see a guy who's the number one, front runner, the candidate, go from wire to win it.
Tough to do.
Very, very tough to do, especially in the SEC. And now they're about to get into the heart of their schedule. He's about to finally get challenged. So I agree. I think I would go with the field, too.
Yeah, it's far from over. It's special and unique because we've seen Alabama with great defenses and great special teams and good offensive lines and good run games. We've just never seen them like this. I mean, the fashion in which he's done it, the game's over at halftime. It's been boring. It's been very boring for everybody in the country. I would take the field, too, because you're giving me everybody. And you just saw last week one knee tweak, and things could really change to the forefront. But the big games are where you win a Heisman. These games against Arkansas and these games against Louisville and all these are awesome. When you do it against Georgia right before Heisman ballots get casted in the SEC championship game, that's when people will go, okay, this dude wins the Heisman.
How are we not talking about Jonathan Taylor, too, at some point, with so much of their schedule still ahead of him?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
He keeps fumbling the dadgum football. I mean, that to me, that's one of the things
starters.
I would say that's annoying with him is they don't give him the ball as much as they did.
The production doesn't matter?
No, the production's good. And dude, he gets Michigan's defense tomorrow, and everybody's going to go, holy cow, did he just do that to Michigan's defense? Again, he's got big games coming up, too. A loss early to BYU. it always
squanders. Madison, too?
It always squanders the Heisman love so far.
So do we think we're destined to have a quarterback winning the Heisman this season?
That's all we
Is
have.
that what we think?
I hope not, but it just looks that way. I hope it's someone else. But, I mean, the quarterbacks right now, they've been dominating the award thus far, so I guess you would think it's a quarterback. But, you may have a running back who may break out. And
it's a quarterback award now, though. That's the problem. I hate it. I can't stand it.
Because it's like a stats award, so it's a numbers game at this point.
If Desmond was playing today, does Desmond win the Heisman?
It'd be hard to, because literally you have to be a quarterback.
Right,
I mean,
well, because this is the thing, and you got to have big moments though in big games. So if Desmond had the Notre Dame game in week 2, 4th and 1, you make that catch. That's all. As a matter of fact, now with social media, that's everywhere now. That was back in '91.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that happened today? So we're at the point now where now these guys are going to start having these big games, so they can potentially have these big Heisman moments.
All right, you got a big moment coming for us tomorrow, right, on game day, Gino?
I do. I'm doing a story on Laviska Shenault, the CU Colorado wide receiver, and
he's awesome.
He is awesome, and his hair is awesome.
Does that make you jealous? When you go meet with a guy like that, that's got to make you so jealous.
On that note, Gino's going to go.
Can I just get a little bit of that?
Can I just have a moment, please? I just need a moment.
Hey, Maria, can you tell him to go take his moment over there? He gone.
Thank you. It is starting to rain, so that's actually good for Gino. We'll stay in the rain. Wheels Up has been bringing our celebrity guest pickers to any and every college campus that we've been to so far, so special thanks to Wheels Up. And take a look at our celebrity standings. As usual, we try to test them and see whether or not they can keep pace. Luke Bryan, still sitting at 9-3. He's done the best so far.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can catch him.
We'll see.
That was pretty good.
What was Sam Hunt last year? What, 10-1?
No, it's legit raining.
No. A-Rod went undefeated. He went like 12-0. He went perfect.
Dang.
A-Rod went perfect last year.
Coming up on College Game Day tomorrow, Tom Rinaldi sat down with the Nebraska head coach Scott Frost to discuss the 0-5 start for the Huskers, and Gino with the story of Colorado's Laviska Shenault, who chose his dreadlocks and their very personal meeting over high school hoops, and now has Pac-12 D coordinators just pulling out their own hair. And speaking of hair, how about Chase Winovich's locks? We found out what his teammates think of his flow. And you got to love his flow, because according to Chase Winovich, no one can stop him right now on offense, which brings us to our blimp-worthy moment, brought to you by Goodyear.
Goodyear, obviously. Goodyear.
Man, exactly.
Chase Winovich, he's been all over the place on the field and making Don Brown happy, but he made me happy this morning when we were able to grab a little breakfast together.
3, 2, 1, draw.
Here in Ann Arbor with the big man on campus, Chase Winovich. The Wolverines getting ready for Wisconsin, and you got to have a breakfast of champions first, right, Chase?
Today I'm going to go with the waffle.
The waffle.
Yeah. For sides, I'm going to go with hash browns, sunny side up eggs, sausage patties, and raisin toast.
I'm going to call that the Chase Winovich, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing that he just ordered. Yeah. The food's coming. Yes. We're eating waffles with chocolate chips on them. This is the breakfast of champions.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great.
Wow.
Keep going. Chase Winovich is amazing, guys. Like, he was great to sit down and have breakfast.
Hey,
what?
Des, where's your person holding your umbrella?
I'm just saying, it's not written in my contract, obviously.
I didn't get that memo.
Not everyone gets this kind of treatment.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Y'all missed her.
Look
She
at
about
this.
came out of her seat
I did. We're
last
just sitting out
segment.
here. It's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
We got a lot of television to do. Come on.
Yeah, you think...
I know. Dad's playing here.
Yeah, I'm at home. I can't even get an umbrella.
Look at your
Somebody come bring
Heisman
me
winning
one.
moments. Yes. Let's just cheer for Dad.
But this one right here was special, extra special, because I'm from Cleveland.
Okay.
Biggest rivalry, and they would not let me catch a touchdown. So I said, just punt it to me one time, baby.
Hey. That's my favorite moment right there, Dad.
423,
Thank you very
423
much.
had an angle, but you took that angle away quickly on him.
Erased it.
Okay, give me your favorite memory at Michigan.
Oh, wow, man, so many. I think that probably that the touchdown against Ohio State, the punt return, and then the pose, that thing is just etched in the history of Michigan sports and Michigan football. So that one's probably my favorite.
I appreciate your true
College
toughness
football.
out here, not worried about the
saying,
cold, just sitting there getting rained
former
on.
student athletes, former student athletes, you know what I mean?
We can do another block if y'all want to. my umbrella regardless. I don't know what will happen to them.